I don't know. If
billions.
people kept talking about you and making claims about you, you wouldn't try to like go on as well and like stop them. Like
at no point did I enter the sexual relationship thinking that that was something he was capable of, or him. Dude, no, actually, what flipped me completely, I'd actually completely forgotten about this. What flipped me completely, because before this, wait, no, I was averaging 13 to 20 average viewers on Twitch. I was a nobody, Tom.
Sure,
none of these people knew about my music at this point, dog.
Again, I'm just saying that you had clout. Like, we all knew that you had
Okay, great. I had clout. People act like I'm not accepting responsibility or culpability this whole time. Actively the opposite of what I have done this whole time. Wait, have you not seen all of the pushback and just downright harassment I've got over the past couple months?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And then
I've gotten more than Steven has ever. Immeasurably more than Steven has. After finding out, after talking to Anna, where Anna was like, you could hear her voice shaking because of how scared she was about Steven, and then also saying that she was still sexting him. More so than abusive, I think that Steven is f***ing cringe. I can air out so much shit that is so f***ing embarrassing, but I'm trying to be a good person. So I will just say that he's f***ing cringe, dude.
So, the very beginning, you were talking about sexual stuff with you and Destiny, and the way that you talked about it made it sound as though you were like, you had this sexual relationship that went before you started streaming and then long after you started streaming. Is that correct?
We had a friendly well, at that point we were like, my relationship was monogamish. It wasn't like, it wasn't open. It was open. Well, normal people would probably say it was open, but it was we weren't like doing like meetups or anything. Like, it was mostly just like flirting and doing whatever, kind of like dipping our toes in the water. So it was like, we had a semi-flirtatious relationship. I think at this point, I think he mentioned like having my OnlyFans, and he might have like sent me a couple photos or something. I don't believe at this point I sent him anything. And then we sort of like lost touch with each other for like a couple months, and then I started talking to him again when he came up on my fucking explore page talking to Max.
Mm-hmm.
And then we mostly just talked about like politics, and then it wasn't really sexual at all. And then it became very abruptly sexual around the time I started streaming.
Okay, so right there. Okay, so when you say something like abruptly sexual, what does that mean?
Like our relationship became it became extremely sexual. Like he was asking me for pictures of my feet and asking me for photos, and I was sending photos, and then we were making plans to like meet up that were sort of like explicitly. This is Steven's thing though, is he'll be like this, and he has to have it like written down. And he used to always tell me that he like really didn't want to text. He wanted everything to be on Discord, and now I know it's because you can scrub everything on Discord. You can't scrub text. But he would, he does this thing that's like plausible deniability, which Max talks about, where like he makes it, our relationship is clearly sexual. It's clearly sexual, but then he'll be like, just so you know, you don't have to do this. And I'm like, okay, dude, like, I mean, it's just clearly put there as plausible deniability. And even in the article, you read where he's like, just so you know, we don't have to do this, or our relationship doesn't have to be sexual. And it's so blatantly plausible deniability that I joke around with him. Like, it's so, you could see that I'm not taking it like, oh, thank you. I'm mostly like, thank you for not killing and raping me, or like, so you don't want to have sex with me? Like, it's so to me it felt so plausible deniability, but I was like, whatever. I doubt that he's gonna like actually rape me, right? So I was like, he can do the plausible deniability thing if he wants, or whatever. At this point, I also didn't think that there was anything wrong with our sexual relationship. And then later I learned that I didn't realize that he would do what he did after having a sexual relationship. I thought that I could trust him basically. I mean, there's something I talked to Max about this, but I think there was something really violating about sharing my body with someone, and this is so cringe, and this is completely moral, like a moral argument, and no one has to feel fucking bad for me, whatever. I'm just gonna victimize myself for the next 5 minutes, but there's something really violating and sad about sharing, at least for me, sharing my body with someone who would then knew that he had complete power over my reputation and sort of shit all over it. Like when he started calling me like an abuser, or like saying that I was doing Darvo for telling him that I like wasn't okay with him calling me a bitch on stream, I sort of remember thinking to myself, like, what the fuck? Like,
So I mean, you're just saying that like you kind of like felt regretful afterwards.
Not regretful, just like I didn't know who I was having this sexual relationship with. I don't know. I felt like Steven sort of presented himself to me like happy-go-lucky guy, and he's never. I mean, it's the same way that fucking Steven said. I thought that every bridge had burned because of other people. I thought that Steven was the victim in all of it.
Okay. So you said that you guys start sending each other nudes. So this is you, but you also said, so this is where I'm like having trouble.
I don't think
it's
Steven's
like
sending me nudes at this point.
Okay. So he's asking you for nudes so far.
Yes.
Okay. So this is like the part that's kind of getting confusing, is the timeline. So one of the things that you mentioned is that you
Sure,
got,
and let me also, I can try to find the actual timeline because I'm doing all of this off of memory. So let me go into our text messages.
So yeah, the question I was going to ask is like, one of the things you mentioned is finding him on your like recommended page. So is that like you saw him and Max talking and then started talking to him again?
No, yeah. So I found him through the Anna situation. Like that was recommended to me on YouTube, and then because I had a verified account with 100,000 followers, I could literally message anyone I fucking wanted. Which is why I messaged people like Hassan, or I messaged like people like Toby Turner, like people who I was fans of or who I knew of. That's sort of just what you do. You sort of like half network, half flirt with people.
Sure.
When you are just like sort of a socialite, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked him and I liked the sound of his voice, so I was like, I'm gonna message him. And this was in let's see, actually, I can tell you what year it was. 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we didn't really talk, or when we did talk, it was sort of just like, hey, I'm gonna be in town, and me being like, I don't really want to meet up. Because at that point, I didn't know him. I wasn't gonna meet up with someone that I didn't actually know. And yeah, then we talked a little bit about politics, but it was never. Oh, we talked a lot about music. So it wasn't ever like, blatantly sexual, I think, until I talked to him after after I talked to Mr. Girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you talked to him on stream, because you talked to Destiny on stream like a couple days after you talked to Max.
I think it might have. Yeah, it might have been the day after or that day. I forget.
It was at least the day after.
Yeah.
At minimum. Okay. And then, so I feel like I could be wrong. I could have sworn he said that you guys weren't sexual after like you first came on stream.
He completely lied. That is just a complete lie.
So I want to be clear. Did he say that, or like do you remember this? Because I feel like he said it to you.
Yeah, he said to me. He tried to gaslight me the last time that we spoke, and he tried to debate me out of saying that he was abusive. He was like, it had been weeks since we had even done anything, or since we were going to be sexual at all. And that was just a complete lie. Literally, I think 13 days before the blow up, 13 days before he called me like a dumb bitch on stream or something, and that whole blow up happened, he was like telling me that he wanted to eat me out at TwitchCon. He was like, oh, we have the whole weekend, like literally like a fucking.
But you're not streaming at this point. So
no, I'm streaming with him at this point a lot.
Well, you're going on his stream, you mean?
Yes, that's what streaming with someone means. Yeah.
Sure. So if I'm streaming with somebody, normally I'm streaming and they're streaming. Sometimes I'll like go on somebody else's stream, but that's very rare. Like if I'm just on their stream, normally we're both co-streaming at the same time, both doing content at the same time. So that's why I'm clarifying.
Sure, I was a guest on his stream a lot at this point.
The reason that's important is because when you guys talk about this being like a profession and the dynamics between the two, like if you're just a random person going on his stream, that is very, very different than like somebody who is also a streamer who has this as like that's their career, who's dependent on the money going on his stream. As far as like the claims from Max, at least, like that would completely change the dynamics if you're not streaming at all and going on his stream.
Well, I did stream. Well, I didn't at this point. I couldn't dual stream, and I couldn't stream. Like I wasn't streaming on YouTube, but I gained a following of like 5,000 on Twitch after going on his stream like twice. So I wouldn't stream with him, but all of the people who are watching me were because of him, because I did not exist before then in Twitch poll.
Okay. So
Steven was the one who was like, you should stream, and it was like he was saying like he could like help me because he had the the audience that he did, and I
so
was like
he
a
actually
newbie.
told you that he would help you.
Yeah. I think that's on in the first conversation I have with him after I talked to Max. I'm pretty sure that's in the VOD.
Because he's also said that, like, yeah, he feels like things would have been very different if he had known that you were going to stream. He feels like
he was the one who told me to stream. He
different.
actually checked in on me for weeks, and when I didn't want to stream anymore, and when I was like slacking on it, he'd be like, "Oh, you have to stream. You have to do it like every day. You have to like." He was very much the only reason I started streaming.
Okay, and so then when you're talking about this, you go on to say that like there's a contract. When you're talking to Connor, you say this in like the vaguest way possible. So you are not. I
made it pretty clear.
Don't let me lead it. Are you saying there is an explicit contract from you to Destiny that was actually verbalized?
Of course not. That's not how. Are you kidding me? That's not even how things like that fucking work. And that's also why it was also more confusing for me, because it felt explicit in the way that it was like. I mean, you saw he was like asking me for feet pics, and then it was like, I'm gonna feel less bad asking you for feet pics now that you have now that you are streaming with me, and stuff like that. It didn't have to be explicit. And when you think about stuff like this, that's like literal Harvey Weinstein. Let's separate Steven and Harvey Weinstein. But nobody was like, Harvey Weinstein wasn't making deals with these people like, if you fuck me, you're going to get this deal.
Right.
It was all very much like, okay, you're gonna go meet with him, and if he likes you, whatever that means, you're gonna get the part. Or you're going to get a part, or he's going to keep you in the repertoire, right? There doesn't have to be this is crazy fucking DGG autism pedanticism. Like, that's not how these situations go. The lines being blurred is what makes it rampant with abuse.
I agree, but like you guys having a relationship beforehand that had nothing to do with streaming seems to make, so like one of the things that I brought up to Destiny, I was like, okay, so like we both agree that if an employer walks up to his employee and propositions the employer is doing something wrong, right? And he's like, yes, of course. And I said, so what if the employee propositions the employer? Is the employer doing something wrong if they accept? And he's like, well, no, of course not. Like at that point, like it is all on the employee. They know what they're doing. Maybe he should have like a conversation with them just to like make sure that they understand the like what it is they're getting into or something, and like clarify boundaries.
Totally. And this is the thing. I thought that I knew what I was going into. I thought, honestly, I was comfortable. Even while it was happening, I was comfortable with the trade-off. Genuinely. Like, I was completely comfortable with it. What I wasn't consenting to, and what I didn't know I was consenting to, is this tyrant who is ready to break and burn any bridge and completely decimate your public image. I didn't know that he was like that, and I didn't know that that's what I was consenting to. I didn't know that I was consenting to pile-ons by his fucking crazy fans. I did not know, like, I didn't know what the fuck, I didn't know what I was consenting to. I didn't. I thought I was consenting to someone who would maintain an appropriate relationship, who knew, because he seemed like a smart guy, and he knew that me streaming with him would give me fans or would give me clout. And so, you know, who giveth taketh away, right? So I think that any normal person in that position would probably be a little more careful and treat your relationship with a little more carefulness, given that a lot can go wrong, and also given that I'm sharing my body with you. Like, if I don't know, for some reason I thought, and maybe this is fucking crazy, but like, if I'm giving you sexual favors, if I'm sending you pictures of my feet, maybe don't call me a fucking abuser on stream because I'm telling you that I don't like it when you call me a dumb bitch. Like, it was just
So what is the timeline on that then? So like that happens. What is the relationship like at that point?
When he calls me a dumb bitch?
Yes.
He had just tried to, on October 14th, I think, it's in the article, he had just tried to meet up with me for sex during TwitchCon, and I said no.
For sex, like he
yes,
said for sex.
Very explicitly, he said that he wanted to eat me out all weekend.
Okay.
And this is another thing that he lied about. He was like, the door might have been open, but we hadn't been sexual in weeks. And literally, like, it was just a complete lie. Like, it was a complete lie, but I didn't know the timeline because he deleted all of his messages. I had backed him all up and just given them to Max and not looked at them. But I didn't know. Steven was able to gaslight and lie to me because I did not have the fucking logs at the time, like, in front of me. But yeah, it was just a complete lie. It literally, days before he calls me a dumb bitch, like 2 weeks before, he's fucking, you know, telling me that he wants to eat me out all weekend. And I said no, and then immediately after, I mean, I'm not gonna speculate, but it felt very weird that after I said no to sex and our relationship became less sexual, and I had even said, I think I had been sort of explicit in being like, I like how our relationship has turned into a friendship after that. I was very much putting on the, okay, we're friend mode. Thank you for, you know, the fun, but you know, that part of the relationship is closing. And also my relationship was closing. Our relationship, we had decided that the open relationship thing was sort of frivolous for us. So I just sort of like tried to send out a feeler, and pretty much immediately after, he called me a dumb bitch and started being way less charitable to me in debates and in general. But maybe that was because I was increasingly more annoying, or I pushed it more. Who knows?
I was about to say, you were also increasingly more aggressive in the stuff that you were saying, and like getting in a lot more fights with other people, and yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so Connor said that he said, you're making it sound like it was some pay for play type of stuff, and you responded with, well, it was actionably. It was.
Yeah.
So what does actionably mean in that sentence? Is it
like,
colloquial or legal?
So so after the whole like welcome to the Orbiters Club, after the article, people were like, well, he was just kidding. He was just kidding about welcome to the Orbiters Club. Or he was just kidding about the feet pics or whatever the fuck. And I was like, well, what is it? What do you mean he's kidding? It's literally what fucking happened. I sent him feet pictures and he said, welcome to the Orbiters Club. Like, that's not a joke at that point. That is actionably what is fucking happening. Like, that's not like, how is that a joke at that point?
You like, said what happened when he said welcome to the Orbiters Club?
I had sent him feet pictures and then he had said welcome to the Orbiters Club. That's in the article. Did you read it?
I did, but there's a lot there.
Yeah, there is a lot there. I think it might be the first couple paragraphs
of the entire article, or
no, of my section.
Okay, I was about to say, because I don't think you got mentioned in the first couple paragraphs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's first couple paragraphs in my section. And no, I don't mean actionable like legal. I mean actually like that is like actionably those are the actions that are happening. I'm not talking about like I'm not talking legal at all. I don't I don't want to like sue Steven for our sexual relationship.
I have the article up here. I was just trying to find that section. Okay. So when he says, just so you know, our streaming career and our sexual interactions are completely separate, you feel like he should have known that you weren't going to take that seriously, right?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, no,
first
not
of all,
right now. I am saying this is what you've said in the past. But go ahead.
Well, no, I don't think that he should have known anything. I don't think that he should have read my mind. I could tell that it was plausible deniability. There's a reason why he would write that down. We were talking on Discord calls at this point. Like he just like he always says like release the logs. Release the logs. Like he does this shit on purpose. He does it on purpose. And I knew at that point, I was like, okay, whatever. If he wants this, whatever. Because I didn't think that anything was going to fucking happen about it. But also, listen, I don't, like, him saying that our sexual relationship and professional relationship is separate is also a crock of fucking shit. How? How could it be?
Well, what do you mean, how? Like
how could it be? Like, that's not... How could it be separate? Normal people do not compartmentalize like that. Like, that's not... It can't be separate because we were engaging in this thing where, like... It sort of became, like, a fucking, like, sex game to almost, like, tease it. Like, he'd message me, and it was, like, it wasn't...
I don't think that's true at all. I think that, like, I think if both people, like, were dependent on it and were, like, working together in the way that they were doing things, so, like, you guys had conversations, like, this is what we're going to do today, this is how we're going to do it, like, that sort of stuff, and then, like, there's, like, you know, he's actually, like, sending you money and things like that, I think you would be correct in, like, the way that it would become kind of inseparable. But I don't think in this case that's actually, like, I don't think it's actually inseparable. I think that most of us are fairly separate in our relationships and our streams.
Yeah, I don't think that that's true. Like, I just disagree. I don't... Have you had a sexual relationship with a streamer that you streamed with?
Not a sexual relationship. No.
Yeah, I just think that it's kind of impossible to separate. Yeah, I just don't agree with you, but agree to disagree.
I have had sexual relationships with people that I've worked with, but not streamers. But yeah. Okay. Let's see. So the stuff with Anna, just this is a little bit off, but the stuff with Anna, you did later, because, like, this is an argument that I got in with my chat earlier. I felt like you came back to that and were later like, okay, like, my bad, like, we kind of did this incorrectly. Is that correct?
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Like, you felt like the way that the Anna situation was handled between you and Max, I felt like you came back and, like, said that you guys mishandled that. Is that incorrect?
I don't remember. I don't even know what you're talking about.
So
what situation?
You
what did I say?
You and Max got Anna into a call, talked to her about getting, like, DMs from her and things like that. Then afterwards, like, you went off about how stupid she is, how she screwed you over, how
yeah.
she's crazy, like, all of this stuff.
Yeah, I really regret that. So Steven behind the scenes was feeding me a narrative. Obviously, Max was talking to me, feeding me his narrative. And then Anna had this whole other narrative. And at this point, I was just trying to bridge gaps. I was literally trying to get all of them. I was trying to get Max and Steven in a call together. I was trying to figure out, like, whether or not it was just a big misunderstanding. Because Anna had talked to me about Steven being, like, this abuser. Because to her, he was, right? So we had talked for a while, and she had sort of laid out all of these things that sort of riled me up about Steven. And it's ultimately why I came forward as hard as I did initially. Because I was really disgusted that he was still sexting with her. The same reason that fucking Max was. It's a little jarring. I think most people after that were like, what the fuck is going on? And then I went on a call with Steven, and Steven Steven is like a world championship narrative builder. And so then I was like, oh, fuck, maybe Anna is crazy. And then a day later, Anna was still talking to Steven. So she was talking to me about how abusive he was and how disgusting he was. And then a day later, she was still talking to Steven and then was like, oh, no, Max just abused me. And also, her saying that Max coaxed or like manipulated this out of her was fucking absurd to me. That felt like just a blatant lie, because in the 30 minutes, or I think maybe less, that I joined that call with Shaylin, Max, and Anna, it was mostly just Anna saying, like, basically just being embarrassed about the sexual messages that they were sending to each other, not wanting people to know what her sexual proclivities were. So her wanting to black those out, and Max being like, okay, well, if you block them out too much, then people aren't going to know what's going on. And then her being like, okay, well, I'm really nervous. And then her still being like, well, I want people to know and I want to do this, but also I don't want people, like, it was mostly just like Max being like, you're fine. I think that, like, I don't think that anyone's going to care about what you like. I don't think anyone's going to think that you're a slut. Like, he wasn't manipulating her. He was just letting her know that it was like, okay. And she'd already expressed so much willingness that it was like, I don't know. It just felt like a complete lie when I heard her say that he was manipulative. And so I sort of snapped and I was like, oh, Anna's the mastermind. Especially after talking to Steven, I was just like, fuck, I guess maybe all of us have made this up. Maybe Max is overreacting. Maybe I'm overreacting because we got this narrative from Anna, who's an unreliable witness. And, in hindsight, of course she was a fucking unreliable witness. She was being fucking gaslit and abused. Like, she wanted Steven's approval. She wanted Steven's attention and love, but she also wanted to speak out about what was happening to her. And there is no perfect victim. People want to talk about this perfect victim who's done nothing wrong and whatever, and that just doesn't fucking exist. So, I don't know. I feel really embarrassed of how I spoke about Anna after that. Because I'm obviously, and now I understand, like, why would you not, after knowing Steven retaliates like he does, why would you not immediately want to be in his good graces? Why would you, like, there were points where Steven called me after I came out, and even had we even messaged back and forth, and he was like, almost baiting me, like, you could just turn it back now. Like, you could just, if you just disavow Max, and maybe I can find those messages. Maybe I can find those messages because everyone's going to want to ask me to substantiate. But it was basically just like, he was saying it on stream. He was like, oh, if she wasn't so brainwashed, she could just come back to the orbit and everything could be fine. And it felt so, I was getting so much hate at that time that it felt like, fuck, maybe I can. Maybe I can forget that I'm uncomfortable with all of this and I'm uncomfortable with the way that he treats me, and I could just not have DGG fucking dogpile me anymore and try to contact my fiance anymore. Maybe if I just go back to him, maybe if I'm just nice to him again, or if I disavow everything, if I disavow Max, I'll just be safe. And she did it, and Anna did do that. So I can't fault her because it was a feeling that I had also. It's something that I wanted to do. So
I guess, but he doesn't, like, I understand you saying that he's, like, abusive towards her, and it seems like they both just, like, their entire relationship is a massive mess. But it doesn't seem as though he has much, like, holding over her head that, like, he can, like, really, like, get her with, as far as I know, at least nothing that's ever come out. But the way that you guys talked about Max and, the way that you guys talked about Destiny, like, dropping a bomb on her or something.
She seems really, really scared of Steven. I don't know what for. I think maybe she had told Max. I spoke to Anna very sparingly about, like, that aspect, why she was so scared of Steven. But I remember her being so, like, genuinely frightened of Steven and what he would do to her, that I think that's why Max got all riled up. Like, there's something that I think Anna thinks that Steven has on her that is preventing her from doing anything. I think also she just wants to live in peace. And knowing that Steven will sick his audience on her if she ever disavows him again, I think is also enough.
Well, the idea of him dropping a bomb on her though was like that seems manipulative. That seems like, yes, this is like something that is, from what I've seen, is just non-existent. That was supposedly supposed to scare her into like following the narrative. And
wait, what are you talking about, dropping a bomb?
So supposedly Destiny was gonna like come after her. He was gonna get her. Like, we have to beat him to the punch. We gotta get the messages so that like he's gonna drop a nuke on us. Like that whole thing.
Oh, I don't really know what you're talking about, but I think I have a brief memory of Max saying that because I came forward and said, well, Anna had come forward and said that they were still sexting in a stream, I think a night or two before I said it on my stream. And then when I said it on my stream, 1,000 people joined my Twitch stream at once. And then Max was like, oh, fuck, like this is going to ramp up. He's going to retaliate. I don't think the bomb was like anything tangible, at least in my understanding of it. I thought that it was just sort of like a general retaliation towards Anna for talking about that information.
You said it didn't. I'm sorry. I had a dono for a second.
Super chatted $5. Hey, I think it would be fun if you bruff big tech in the call.
Okay. You said that you didn't think that it was what? Say the last sentence.
Also, let me be very clear that you're asking me to do this all off of memory, and I was,
yeah, of course,
and I have been very, very vocal about that. I was in active Klonopin withdrawal during this time.
Yeah.
So
of course. Yeah.
Take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I don't want anyone to be like, she's lying. I'm telling you to like the best of my knowledge. If I'm wrong about something, we can talk about that. If you have knowledge to the contrary of something that I'm saying, we can talk about that. I'm just strictly just going off of memory.
Okay, yeah. So at the time, this was what came out from Anna, was that he was like, Max was telling her that Destiny was going to find out that you guys were talking to him, that this was all going to blow up, and that he was going to drop a nuke on you guys to destroy all your careers, and that like she needed to hurry up and give him the DMs. So
yeah,
that
I think the nuke was just general retaliatory behavior by Steven. Like, I don't think that it was like.
Yeah, but you understand that the retaliatory behavior wouldn't exist if she doesn't give the DMs, right? Like, that conversation is what causes the nuke to happen.
I think it was completely fair to, because at that point they had been like fine friends, right? And their relationship had been like, okay, you don't talk about me, I don't talk about you, we're friendly, whatever. Well, that's at least what everyone thought it was. I guess they were still sexting during that time, I guess. But I think it's completely within reason to expect that after she came forward and said that she felt abused, which she did in her live stream. She said, I can't believe that like I'm still dealing with this. Steven did abuse me. He's still sexting me. I think it's completely within reason to think that after she revamped it, that he would just fucking go just as hard as he did the first time.
But that's what I'm saying, is that like that call is what revamps it, right? That call. So like him saying, give us the DMs because Destiny's going to drop a nuke. He's not going to drop a nuke if she doesn't give the DMs, but her giving the DMs is what would cause the nuke. And so, yeah, it seemed like I don't think that's backwards.
Sure. I just don't think that that's what would cause the nuke. I think that it would be like Anna revamping her abuse narrative would cause the nuke. And I think that he could have easily been like, oh, well, he could have denied it. I think that that's what Max was thinking that he'd do, was that he would deny it. And then,
well, publicly, yes. Like if she had revamped it publicly, that's what I'm saying, is that like giving over the DMs is part of revamping it publicly.
So then he wanted to have proof. I also don't like, you're asking me to explain Max's like motive. Like I don't know Max's motive.
I'm not. I'm asking you to understand that people are going to see that as very manipulative. People are going to see that as insanely manipulative. Like he is, because when I'm talking about putting pressure on somebody to get them to do something, that
Sure.
seems like pressure. That seems like that's like scaring somebody and fear mongering somebody into doing what is very beneficial for you.
Okay. Yeah. I probably wouldn't have done it. I probably wouldn't have done it. But yeah, it sort of felt like, I mean, mostly with Anna, it felt like she was always sort of on the fence, but when she did want to go public, she was like really aggressively wanting to go public, and then she'd get kind of scared, and then I don't know. It's sort of like, I don't know. It's like talking to a friend who like keeps going back to like her abusive boyfriend. At some point, you just kind of want to shake her and be like, dude, you have to fucking go to the police. You have to say something. So I know that could be manipulative, and I don't know what like I also said, I wasn't in that call with them the whole time. He says that it was like 3 hours long. I was in it for 20-30 minutes, if that.
Okay.
So I don't know what the fuck was going on that whole fucking time. But at least the time that I was in there, it was very much like she was just scared about certain things being leaked and still wanted to come forward with it. So I don't know.
Okay. I just sent you a DM.
Yeah, no way, no. Yeah, no.
Okay.
She can speak to me alone. Farha, if you want to speak to me alone, we can, but we're not going to do this whole I'm not going to like be debated out of any, like I'm not going to do this whole thing live.
Okay. So the Nuke, you're saying like that
Thank you for asking me also.
Yeah, you're saying you don't remember that, right?
No, but as you're explaining it to me, I think I sort of get it. I just don't think that it's like, I don't think it's like one tangible nuke or something. Like in the same way that like we talked about like the Hassan nuke, I don't think it's something like that.
Okay. What was the last thing? So if you felt uncomfortable through some of this, why wouldn't
I didn't feel uncomfortable through it until Steven started actively like obliterating my reputation by telling his fans that I was abusing him and I was extremely manipulative. And this is before anything went down. This is like right after he called me dumb bitch, and I was like, hey dude, like when you called me dumb bitch, it like really opened up like a ton of fucking hate, and I like don't appreciate you doing that. And then him telling me, the VOD is still up, I think, of him being like, you're using Darvo right now, with me just being like, I just wanted you to acknowledge that it hurt my feelings and that you need to take a little better care of your audience and my reputation because you are like the head honcho here. And that was that's when I was like, oh fuck, like I don't know what I got myself into. Like I just didn't ever think that I'd find myself in the position where things would go that sour. I think that a lot of people are like, yeah, Steven is just like this. Steven does whatever he wants and he's just aggressive and whatever. But I think to like any like normal person, the way that Steven interacts interpersonally, where he's so quick to burn a bridge or so quick to say something like extremely aggressive so he can feed his audience with the same rhetoric that just rapid fire at you in the thousands. I don't think that people, like any normal person, would expect someone to do that. Would expect someone to be so non-careful with their power. So I didn't ever think that I would come into a position like that. But like as far as like during our relationship, I felt pretty comfortable like the whole time. Like he never raped me. He never like, there was never any sort of like, I never even, when we met up, like there was never anything like uncomfortable. It was a little awkward at some points, like when I, whatever. It was a little awkward at some points, but it wasn't. I never felt like uncomfortable. I never felt like he was forcing me to do anything.
Okay. So you didn't feel like there was pressure. So you disagree with Max on that stuff then, right?
Sorry, what'd you say?
You've said before that there's a ton of stuff that you disagreed with Max on throughout his article. Is that one of the things? Like, it seemed like he was saying that there was a lot of pressure on people like you to like give him nudes and to
I
like
think
be sexual with him.
I think that I'm still really focused on my culpability in it.
One of the things, like, it seemed like that there was a lot of pressure.
Whoa.
Sorry.
You're
Okay.
good. I'm still really focused on my culpability in it, where I think that most victims, I'm victimizing myself. Most people who experience things like this are basically like, what could I have done different? What could I have done different? How could I have done this differently? Whereas like Max is very steadfast in like that Steven had all of the responsibility because of his power. I still obviously give myself more agency and think that there are plenty of points where I should have probably had better boundaries. I think that Steven also does take advantage of people who have poorer boundaries, just like anyone does. I don't think that makes him exceptionally evil. I think that we all do it. I just think that it becomes a little more dangerous when you're someone like Steven and you have a big platform and you do it.
But I think, I mean, to be honest, like, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I don't think anybody would disagree with you on those things. But if you found him through the Anna situation, it seems like you already knew that when you started talking to him, right?
This is what's so embarrassing. I mean, mostly what I feel about all of this is like deep embarrassment that I ever got entangled with someone who is like just a piece of shit. I just think Steven's a scumbag, more so than being like an abuser or whatever. I just think he's a loser and I think he's a scumbag, and I'm embarrassed that I ever like interacted with him. But I think that I mean, in hindsight, absolutely. But as you're watching those videos, it really is fed to you like Anna is fucking psycho. Everything Destiny did was completely justified. His friends are doing that. His friends are running defense, and his friends are telling Anna that she's psycho, and they're saying, "Oh, poor Steven, like, you know, you're just too charitable, too kind. All these bad things are happening to you." And it really felt like I really had just seen him as the victim. I don't anymore. But at that point, I had really, like, you know, in hindsight is 2020. Now I'm like, fuck, I'm so stupid, especially as a feminist, especially as someone who has been around men who have abused their power before. I should have like known this. I feel really sheepish about it, but I think I don't know. I guess I'm dumber than I think I am.
I mean, maybe I as somebody who was around during that time, that was not my perception at all. It seemed like over and over, Anna would come out with claims, and then Destiny would get like a lot of blowback and a lot of heat, and then he would have to like respond to all of this.
I wasn't in the space. Let me reiterate, I was not in the space. I was only watching him on YouTube.
I understand. That's why I want to like I want to give this context, because he was getting a lot of crap for a lot of this stuff, and then he would respond. But each time he would respond, things would blow up bigger. And so they would eventually come together, have an agreement that they were just going to stop doing this. They were going to stop talking about it. They weren't going to keep like, you know, like looping on this stuff. And they would both agree to not talk about one another publicly anymore and just like leave it at that. But then, yes, she would come out with more claims like 6 months later again, and it would be a whole new thing. And then, yes, people would, I mean, I was one of the people who would be like, what the hell, dude? Did he really do this? This is messed up. Like, what is this freaking bullcrap? And so, like, I think through a lot of it, people were like, okay, he still did something messed up, but now that all of this and all of this extra context is added in, it seems very different, right? I think that if all of the context came out at first and everybody had like a full understanding of what had happened, I think that maybe things would have turned out differently. But it's like if somebody says like, yeah, that person freaking murdered that other guy. Like, it's so bad he murdered him. And then you find out like, well, no, they kind of attacked him first. And then there was like some wrestling over a gun. And like, even though he was taunting them and talking crap with the gun first, like he didn't really murder them. Like, he was kind of in self-defense. He did taunt them a little bit, but he still, you know, it's like now all of a sudden sudden you get a ton more context that's like, okay, they still probably did some wrong stuff here, but it's totally different than the initial claim, to where this is very like it just, yeah, it kind of downplays everything afterwards.
Sure. Yeah, I think that all of this is really messy. I think as in true Steven Bonnell interpersonal fashion, all of this is just extremely fucking messy. I've never been in a situation like this before in my life. Like where everything is just like when I also like I've never been in a position where I tell people that I'm uncomfortable about something, and then he like tries to follow me onto platforms to like or onto like panels to like try to convince me out of it, or like try to debate me out of my uncomfortableness. Like it's just so fucking crazy. Or like having a bunch of people, like a bunch of his fans, tell me that I'm like a liar and like all of this like weird shit, and I'm just like, it feels like you're being gaslit by like, I mean, like, it feels like more than it is. It feels like
I don't know.
billions.
If people kept talking about you and making claims about you, you wouldn't try to like go on as well and like stop them, like give like some back, some pushback, you know, some other information. I don't know enough about this to where like I could actually like effectively tell you that you're wrong.
At some point, yeah, I think at some point I would, like, maybe the first or maybe one or two times, but like Chud Logic still makes videos about me, and I'm just like, he's a fucking loser. Who cares? Like, he's no one I care about is watching his fucking videos. Like,
well, just so you know,
is, like,
I mean, Chud Logic is one of the people who have said that like he's been critical of some of the things that Destiny did and the ways that he's interacted. He also says Destiny is incredibly messy in the way that he interacts with women. Like, he's like, I don't know if you know this, but yes, like he has also been like one of the people who like goes over the article and it's like, yeah, like Destiny did some wrong stuff here. This is all stuff we already knew about. This is stuff we already gave him crap for years ago. But
I think that listen, the people that I have told, the people who I have had read the article or I've told about all of this shit outside of this space have been shocked and appalled that someone like this has been like basically been able to like be uncanceled and like not and just move freely. Like especially like anyone in real life who touches grass is like, what the fuck? Obviously I think that you guys are, one, desensitized to it because you saw it as it was happening, and two, you guys have like, you know, you like Kyla, you really want to humanize Steven because you see him as like, everyone sees themselves as him and vice versa, sees him as you and whatever. And I think that that's the problem with like the whole streaming thing, right? Is we think that we know people more than we know them. But I don't know, dude. Like listen, I think that it is definitionally, and I talked about this with Counterpoints, definitionally, the things that Steven has done are abusive. Definitionally, literally. I don't think he should be in jail. I think he should lose his platform because he's a loser. Just kidding. I don't think that he should lose his platform. He can keep it, I guess. But what I do think is that YouTube shouldn't be making money off of him being the Jerry Springer show. But that's neither here nor there.
So that seems like it's the thing. Is it like, it seems like he is living almost like a reality TV show. We all just happen to see everything that he does in real time, and it is all like very public, and that's kind of the part that makes it super messy. But when I feel like when you talk about this, like there's an aspect of like the fact that like people can't consent to these sorts of interactions, or I don't know what else.
It's different. Okay, so the problem is not that this power dynamic is inherently abusive. There are ways that Steven could have dealt with this that did not end this way, did not end with me feeling uncomfortable, did not burn bridges. There's always ways that he could have handled this differently. It's the potentiality for harm that is the problem. I think that Max has said, and what everyone takes from what Max has said, is that this power dynamic is always inherently wrong and no one can ever consent to it. I could consent to a sexual relationship with Steven in which I thought that he would basically protect me from his audience, in which I thought that because we had the sexual relationship that we did, he would not then turn it all against me and start a dog pile, and then eventually, like, I had no idea that eventually he was going to direct to a Kiwi Farms doxing my fucking family. Like, at no point did I enter the sexual relationship thinking that that was something he was capable of, or talking about calling me mid-Jew pussy. I had no way of knowing that that was going to happen, or that his audience would fucking dogpile me for months and months and months. I could not consent to that. I had no idea it was going to fucking happen. Right?
He didn't direct people to your Kiwi Farms, just to be clear. He
did. He said that it was going up. He said it was going up, and then he literally had read it because he brought up something that was in it, and then he said, "Ha ha ha, T, it's going up tomorrow, or it's going up this week." What the fuck do you think that is?
Yeah, I guess
that's
like
direction.
He's telling people that it's there. It's not direction, but it is like making it more likely that people are going to do that. I would agree with that.
Is what direction is. He's not saying go here, but it is absolutely direction.
It's not direction. Like if it's direction,
that is
him actually telling
that is what
people.
Direction is. That is what direction is. He's telling people it exists, and he knows. What does he think that people aren't gonna fucking go after he brings it up? Come on, Tom.
No, that's what I'm saying, is that like those are very different things. It's saying like, I want you to go here versus this thing exists, knowing that people are more likely to go there, right? Which one do you think is more likely? Do you think that more people are going to go if he says, I want you to go look at this post, and like sends out like a link to it, or if he just mentions it? Which one is going to get more people to go to it?
I genuinely don't think it fucking matters when you're Steven. Like, I genuinely don't think it matters.
Because when you use a word like directed, you are making it sound like he like actually told people he wanted them to go.
Also,
and do
people
it,
in your chat are saying that I linked it myself. I literally found out it was coming out through Steven talking about it in his fucking chat and people talking to me about it.
Did you link it after, or?
It had to have been hours after. It had to have been minutes or hours after. And I didn't link it. I never linked it. I said I had read it, and I said that it was the funniest thing I'd ever read in my life.
Do you think you were directing people there when you said that?
Sure, but I can direct people to my Kiwi Farms. Sure. I can direct people to my Kiwi Farms. Sure. Steven can't. Sorry, okay. That's not his. I can tell whether or not I give the world my address. Steven can't.
Okay, that's fine. But I think that, like, yeah, so I agree with you. There's one of the things that I clarified with Mr. Girl is like, okay, our power imbalance is inherently wrong. And he's like, no, of course not. And so like, yeah, lots of people think that like, he thinks that just because there's a power imbalance, there's automatically something wrong being done. But I do think that like lots of times I agree with you that lots of times potential for something, like potential for harm can mean that like somebody's being reckless and therefore probably doing something wrong. I just don't, so far, at least for me, for my like personal, what I've seen, I just haven't seen anything that's actually like that reckless. It seems like a lot of people know what they're getting into.
Sure. This is also another thing. When I bring up the things that Steven did wrong, everyone is so, they're acting like I'm saying he should be sent to the gallows. When I speak about my experience and I say that I was uncomfortable or I felt whatever, I'm saying it because I think it's worth it to say it. If it helps someone else understand the situation, also just to get it off my chest. None of this is a prescription. I don't think that if you guys want to keep watching Steven, fucking do it. I don't give a shit. And also there's been all of this like talk about how I am like this very fragile victim. I have had some really low days, especially in like November of last year. Obviously, in the article, I told Steven that I went to the hospital. I had a couple of really rough nights. But this is not, it's not like, I don't even know how to describe it without mitigating how it's affected me, but I will live. this is what I'll say. I'll fucking live. Okay? Like all of this shit sucked. I will be okay. Right? Like I think that everyone involved will be okay. Eventually Anna will be okay. I think that Max will be okay. I think that all of the people who Steven has been a fucking douchebag to will eventually be okay. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't think that all of this is serious because feelings are serious, but none of this is so serious that all of us need to fucking freak out over it, right? I personally would not have written an article. I'm glad that Max did. I'm glad that there are people like Max who really care about justice that much. To me, someone who has already come forward about someone, Gabriel Gundecker, I know that nothing good ever fucking comes of this. Like, nothing, like, this, it doesn't feel good to come forward about someone. Nothing really ever changes, but at least you got it out. At least you warned women. And, you know, if, I think the good that came in all of this is, like, maybe more if you know, a woman wants to, or if Steven wants to hook up with another girl who comes on his streams, at least they have a full body of work knowing what they're getting themselves into, and that is informed consent. What Max gave Steven is a gift, actually. He gave, now no woman can come forward and be like, I didn't know. Now every woman knows what it is, right? Every woman knows what could potentially happen. I wish that existed when I was going into it with him.
That all makes sense. But the fact that it's all framed around the, like, narrative of abuse really changes, like, everything that you just said. Like, that it was all about proving that he was an abuser and that he's abusive.
I think it
right?
did do that. I think that it did do that.
So what, like, if there was, because I know that there's, like, the whole pattern thing or something like that, but earlier you were saying that, yeah, like, you do think that he was abusive. Like, if there was a thing that you would point to, because we've gone over, like, a bunch of stuff, if there was a thing through all of that, like, what would that be for you?
What do you mean? If there was like a pattern?
No, not the pattern. I'm asking, like, outside of a pattern. Like, is there, like, an action that you would say this thing was abusive?
Yeah, I think everything that he did to Anna was abusive. I think that mobilizing his audience against me by telling them I was a manipulative abuser, completely uncalled for, completely abusive. Especially, at this point, he wanted to keep a relationship with me. So he thought that this would just, like, I don't know what the fuck he thought. Like,
When you say at this point, at what point?
Like at the point where he was calling me like a dumb bitch, and then we had that talk afterwards where I cried and everyone said I was ulting and I was wearing my, like, Peter Pan thing. At that point, we were still, like, friends.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like him saying that I was, like, an abuser and manipulative at that time was just, like, really fucking weird. Like, it was just, like, baseless. Then him also lying, him saying that I have a history of false allegations under my belt, complete lie. And also just, like, you know what, like, people hate women who come forward, period. And people want people who they think lied about allegations to fucking die. Like, that is one thing on the internet that you can always expect, is that a woman coming forward, if there's even a shred of doubt, the internet wants her fucking dead.
Yeah.
Steven fucking knows this. And so him mobilizing his audience against, especially being so dishonest, 20, 30 women came forward about Gabriel. I didn't want to come forward about Hassan. I said something stupid that I shouldn't have said, that I wasn't sure about in a Discord chat, and then came forward later and said, there was an age gap, whatever, I don't even care, but I had to come forward because Steven said that he wasn't going to protect me anymore or whatever. That also abusive.
Saying that he's not going to protect you anymore?
Yeah, him saying that, like, he was like, and of course this is on a fucking call, but him just being like, now that, like, I was protecting you from this, and now that you're not, I forget exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of, like, now that we're not an orbiter, what's gonna happen? And I was just like, dude, like, I couldn't even fucking believe it. Or him, dude, no, actually, what flipped me completely, I'd actually completely forgotten about this. What flipped me completely, because before this, even weeks ago, even like 2 months ago, I had been like, listen, I don't know if what he's doing is abusive. I don't know any of it. All I know is that it feels bad and wrong, and that Steven has really messy interpersonal relationships. Everyone remembers me saying that. For months, that was my take. And then I went to talk to Steven, and he had lied, and he had said, he had like made up a lie that I had told him, like I had talked shit about Connor. And then he had like been like, do you want me to tell everyone what you said about Connor? Like threatening me. And I was like, what? At that point I was like, what? Like it was so crazy that someone would lie like that to an audience of riled up people who fucking hated me, and then to lie.
You're talking about the last time that you were on a call.
Yes.
The on stream with like Stardust and Zonia and everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
I was so shocked that that is, to me, that is what sets it up. Like him calling me mid-Jew pussy, also super misogynistic and abusive. But him also like him straight up lying about something and then like weaponizing it as to like threaten me. I literally at that point was just like, oh fuck, like he is an abuser. At that point, I couldn't like lie to myself anymore and be like, oh, he's just messy. He doesn't even know. Like at that point, I didn't even know that Steven like. I thought that Steven genuinely just had very little self-awareness and was very hurt.
Is it a threat if he feels like it's like tit for tat, like you're coming out with a bunch of information, you're talking about handing all of your logs over to Max, you're on a call, like talking about all of the stuff that he did and like interpersonal interactions between the two of you. Like you don't think that he would feel like it's tit for tat to come back with other information about that you've given him?
It wasn't real.
Okay.
There's nothing to talk shit about Connor about.
Yeah, I don't think he ever came out with that. So yeah,
No, he did in our fucking messages. He had said something like that I had said that Connor couldn't make me come. Like just a lie. Like that's the if it was something I actually said, I would be like, whatever. I'm doing this whatever against you. If you want to talk about how I like wouldn't give you head or whatever, sure, do whatever the fuck you want. But it was the fact that it was like a blatant lie that I was so shocked that he would do that. Like because it was just vindictive, like trying to humiliate me and to humiliate my partner out of nowhere. Like it was just so fucking weird. Anyway, that was the big thing. I remember calling Max after that and being like, you were right. Because up until that point, every time I had talked to Max, it was like sort of this argument where I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know if he's abusive. I don't know. Like, I think at this point I was like, what if he's just messy? What if he has BPD or something? What if he doesn't know what he's doing? What if he can't help it? And then he did that and I was just like, dude, he's a fucking loser. Like, yeah.
Hey, well, okay. So the stuff with Hassan, you came out with that on your own volition, right? Like you felt like he wasn't going to protect you anymore, and you thought like that was a possibility that he might say something, so you decided to just like come out with it so that you didn't have to worry about it, right?
Yeah, and I didn't think that it was a big deal. I think even in the Discord where I had said what I did, I had literally talked about how I didn't care about it, how it was just hypocrisy. It was not like I was not levying this allegation. Also, me and my friend who I was talking about, were in a state where the legal age of consent is 16. And also, I don't care about the fucking age of consent shit. I don't think that you have like a sex fairy that hits you on the forehead on your 18th birthday and you're like good to fucking go.
But there's a legal thing like where
there wasn't in this case. In the state that we were in, it's 16. There was no legal. And when I even said that, I literally said that in the Discord that it wasn't illegal.
You understand that lots of people are going to look at him as though he did something wrong. Like even if that's the case, like lots of people are going to like condemn him if they think that, because there is a federal like 18.
With this. Huh? I know that that's true. I did not want to come forward with this. I said this in a Chud Logic Discord that was very, very little at this point. I think Chud was averaging like maybe 90 to like 200 viewers at this point, and this was in July, I think, so I had just started streaming. I didn't know that Chud was a drama streamer. I didn't know what the fuck I was getting myself into. Hindsight is 2020. I shouldn't have fucking said shit, dude. But it was not, I was not coming forward with any sort of information to like cancel Hassan. I thought that I was talking to a bunch of fucking nobodies who knew that I was a nobody and would just like sort of take the information on its fucking head. Like,
but you weren't a nobody, Lav. Like, you know that you weren't a nobody. Like I was looking at your Spotify numbers last night. Oh my freaking goodness! You have millions of views on some songs.
Wait, no, I was averaging 13 to 20 average viewers on Twitch. I was a fucking nobody, Tom.
Sure,
none of these people knew about my fucking music at this point, dog. And I don't know if you know about this. People who listen to my fucking music.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Okay, hold on. The first time you talked to Mr. Girl, I remember you specifically. It's the first time you went on to a stream, the first time you talked to anybody in public. You went on and said, I kind of have a pretty big following. I knew from then on, like, okay, this chick's actually like kind of a big deal. I didn't have to like wait.
A big deal? No, I was. This is fucking
ridiculous. You said that
ridiculous.
you were a prominent TikToker and that you had a fairly large following. This is what you said to Mr. Girl. So I think anybody who heard you from then on kind of came with the assumption that you were kind of a big deal.
Nobody gives. I don't know what the fuck you are talking about. You could enter this space with 1 million followers on fucking Instagram. You are fresh meat when you enter Twitch poll. You don't fucking matter unless you make a fucking name for yourself.
I agree as far as viewers. I agree with all of that.
There is no. Also, a lot of the people who listen to me on Spotify don't follow me on other platforms.
I agree with all of this. That's not what I'm
my
saying.
shit gets fed through algorithms.
I agree with you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about like as far as like clout, like notoriety. People know who you are. People don't look at you as though you're not a big deal, even if they don't watch your content.
At that
personally.
point, they did. I was a nobody. Everyone treated me like I was just like the annoying girl who had come on stream like fucking once. If they knew of me. At this point, I was literally nobody.
But what they knew of you was that you were referencing yourself as a prominent TikToker with a large following.
Nobody cares about TikTok in this fucking space.
Again, I'm just saying that you had clout. Like, we all knew that you had
great.
clout.
I had clout. But you're like somehow trying to...
Well, no, I don't want to downplay
means anything in Twitch poll. It means something
I've said over and over, it doesn't mean anything as far as Twitch poll goes. But people, like I'm saying, it's not going to get you a lot of viewers. But we're not looking at you as though you're a nobody anyway.
Okay, so you brought this up. You brought this up because you are saying that because I said this thing about Hassan and because people knew me from... People knew that I had a following. They were gonna log this, and that like, are they gonna take it with more weight? I don't know what you're.
Yeah, just the fact that you're able to talk about like interactions with Hassan. Obviously, I think people are automatically gonna be like, oh damn, like this chick knows Hassan. She's talking about personal interactions with him. I think from like just from that, they're likely to log it.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, hindsight 2020, but I will not like. To imply that my following elsewhere was any sort of bearing to how these people thought of me at the time is just like, this has become a post hoc talking point for Steven, like that I was somebody. At this time, I was entering spaces where nobody gave a fuck who I was, except when I was like yelling at people for sex work. Like, nobody gave a fuck. So this like post hoc, like, no, she did have a big following is like just a fucking cope. Like nobody gave a fuck. Nobody who follows me on Instagram or TikTok knows I even fucking stream. Like
you were supposed to be the person that led us all into the promised land by
nobody fucking knows that I stream, and nobody who watches my stream knows that I have a big fucking following on TikTok unless I'm actively telling them as I'm telling them. That's not like what people talk about when they talk about me. They talk about me being like, fuck it. I mean, now they talk about me being like a Steven Orbiter or like a, live, laugh, lie. But like, no, none of these people talk about my fucking music. None of these people talk about any of it. Like,
I agree.
These two worlds are so compartmentalized that to bring them up is crazy.
I agree with all of this. Like, I think even like there's tons of like massive hip hop stars that have like millions of followers on Twitter, but then they go stream on Twitch and they can barely get 100 people watching them. Like, I completely agree with what you're saying as far as like transferring a following over. So I agree with all of that. I guess did the ages change on the girl? Did it go from 17 to 19?
Yes, I had said that she was 17. and apparently I was wrong because he said that she was 19, and then I was like, okay, if she was 19, then she was 19. I don't care enough.
And you
I
haven't
don't,
talked
like-
to her about it or anything?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay. Fair enough.
I was 17.
Okay. Big Tech wants to jump in. That's all the questions I really have.
Oh God, what
You
does
wanna-
Big Tech want to fucking talk about?
Mr. Tech?
Big Tech?
Just bring me in.
I did.
Yeah, you're in.
Oh. Hey, best friends.
How's it going, buddy?
Hi, buddy.
Oh, hey, I wasn't ready for that. Let me mute this other stream. Oh, hey, all right, we're back. No, I wasn't paying attention. Lav, you're so full of shit.
Yeah.
Let me set you straight here.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me fix this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Lav, first of all, you did you know that you're a laugh talker?
A laugh talker?
You're a laugh talker.
Oh God. I think I know what you mean.
You
You know who else
Yeah.
is a laugh talker? My mom.
Here
I
go.
literally had that thought. I was like, wonder where she got it from. I bet it's from.
Dude, I used to hate when my mom did that. I'm not even aware when I'm doing it. I'm gonna end my
Mhm.
life.
Yep, pretty cringe. You're embarrassed.
I am
Shouldn't do
definitely,
that.
yeah, I am definitely embarrassed. I'm doing it now.
Yeah. It comes across. Excuse me for laying it on another layer of cringe, but it comes across extra bad, especially when you're talking about something that's like serious or negative or sad or like evil. And then you're like, and then he like fucking raped me in front of everybody. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. It's like, why is she laughing? She seems crazy. So I don't think you're doing yourself any favors by laughing while you're saying something like.
I think you're right. I think that it's really like uncomfortable to talk about these things, and especially when I'm in this like I'm in this constant battle of like wanting to be genuine, but also like really. I mean, everyone's like calling me like a lol cow, so I'm like, how serious do I act? Because I've seen Max is very serious, and I think it comes off as
serious.
I think it comes off as sort of embarrassing for me. I get uncomfortable watching him be serious. So I think I try to fluff it up by being like, I'm okay. He. See, I'm laughing. I'm not about to kill myself. I don't mean it to be like disingenuous. I just am like uncomfortable.
I believe it. And it's a habit that you picked up from
Mommy, dearest.
Yeah. Yep. Mumsy.
When we read over the Mr. Girl report, Big Tech came on to read your parts in the DMs.
yes.
And then it got really weird.
Was he
when all
me?
Of a sudden,
Did he play
yes,
me?
he
Yeah,
was
it was
you. And it got really weird when all of a sudden you are talking about him and he's talking about himself, talking doing your voice. It was very odd.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. We had a big techception, and all right. Here's the other thing, Lav. I think remember when Destiny called you you stupid bitch?
I think it was dumb bitch, but thanks for the
you dumb
revisionist
bitch,
history.
yeah.
I guess I'm also stupid. Yeah.
Well, I mean those are synonyms. Forgive me if I.
Yeah.
The specifics.
It just adds, everyone adds an adjective on every time they say it.
He called you a dumb,
stupid,
fat
dumb,
bitch,
lying,
whore,
ugly bitch. Yeah.
ugly, stinky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you kind of were being a dumb bitch a little bit. I think he was. What if you were? What if you were and it was? What if it was warranted? But the blowback was something that you felt was inappropriate. But
well, you know that I said that. You know that in that video where I'm talking to him and I'm saying that it hurt my feelings. I literally I'm still people act like I'm not accepting responsibility or culpability this whole time. Actively the opposite of what I have done this whole time. I literally said maybe I was being a dumb bitch. maybe I was being a dumb bitch, but still, when you know that you have my reputation in your hands, I would hope that you would be a little more careful with it, and especially to your audience, who he has personally said he knows is full of incels. I would hope that, and he knows that he has a misogyny problem in chat. I would hope that he would behave better than that. But even then, like, after the dumb bitch thing, that wasn't like it for me. Like, I was still gonna like go on and be friends with him. I just wanted to let him know that it didn't make me feel good, which I think is kind of the only thing that you can do. But yeah, I forget what he called me a dumb bitch.
That's not the only.
You know, this is hilarious because he was calling me a dumb bitch because I said that lying and having a mistake were the same thing, and he was saying no.
Yeah.
And now I've been on the other end of that, so I was being a dumb bitch.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but particularly what you were doing is the thing where maybe it even kind of goes hand in hand with the laugh talking, but it's a little bit of, there's a sense of entitlement to an opinion that you haven't really thought through, or like a smugness in the way that it's being expressed, and it is quite frustrating. So it seemed like a valid expression of frustration that he was venting in the moment comedically. And then the conversation shifted toward you telling him that calling you that was hurtful, and now you started like,
yeah, you know what, Big Tech? I think you're a fucking misogynist also. So I don't know if I can trust your fucking judgment here. You're on fucking Cozy, where like every time I go in, they're like rape the kike. So listen, I don't trust you to have the best judgment with this. Like, I think that Steven, if he wants to call himself a progressive and he wants to do the things he does and he wants to maintain a community in which he's not like harboring a bunch of woman haters, he should behave better. You don't care.
Right. Okay, so this is what I wanted to get to. Thank you. Exactly. All right. Yes. Perfect. So it's your assumption of his moral values and principles that you're actually attempting to use against him. Right?
Wait, what?
You're judging him based on the morality that you think that he will uphold for himself. He's only guilty of anything if he is the good guy that you're assuming he is.
Yes. All of this is his opinion, and if you have the same opinion as me, then you have the same opinion of me. If you think that Steven did nothing wrong, you are also entitled to that opinion.
But also his guilt is completely hinged upon him like accepting your frame of morality.
Yes, so that's the same. I mean, you probably are against abortion. It's legal, but if someone does that, you probably think that they're evil, right? So in your frame of morality, it's evil.
I don't
think
that
to you,
evil,
it still feels real, and to a lot of people, it also still feels real.
I don't want to let him do it.
Okay, well, I feel the same way. I don't really want to let Steven keep doing this to people, but if you don't even agree on the premise that it's bad to do, then okay.
Right. So, I mean, it really comes down to, it's like, well, you don't want to let him, like be mean to girls that were like kind of slutty with him. Because then they get clingy. I mean, that's one way of saying it, right? You're a little bit slutty, then you got kind of clingy attachment, and then it feels extra hurty when you pull the Band-Aid off and realize, oh, he didn't care about you.
Yeah, through your lens, I could see that.
Is there? Am I off in that? I mean, I'm saying it in the simplest terms I can like think of in the moment. I admit that.
Yeah, you're acting like you're really putting an emphasis on like my culpability when you say that, though, which is fine. You could think that I'm the person who did something wrong in this. That is also, you are entitled to your opinion. I also probably think that you think that Steven's a scumbag, also, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I wouldn't recommend girls being slutty with scumbags.
Yeah, I would. I think that's why that's the best part of
play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah, I completely
then to call him
agree.
An abuser, it's like, well, where's the fucking report on your fucking slutty little ass?
Make one.
Well, but the point is, it's like
I'll make one myself. I will tell every woman, like, do not like think that.
Well, the thing is that there isn't one. You know why? You know why? It's because we live in a society that hates on men and lets women off the fucking hook.
Oh yeah, that's what everyone. That's the truth.
That's real.
That women are loved, really and men are the ones. You're fucking.
Yeah, I got my own problems with Steven like all day long, but watching you and Max do this to him, it's like, well, wait a minute, this is totally one-sided.
I don't think that's true at all. Do you wait? Have you not seen all of the pushback and just downright harassment I've got over the past couple months?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And then
I've gotten more than Steven has ever, immeasurably more than Steven has.
But but that's like, but the way that you're doing this is sort of an invitation because everybody feels like, well, hey, what about her? And then when somebody does something, there's sort of the feeling like
At
even
every
I'm getting in
point,
the
I
moment,
have
which
said
is like,
that I am also culpable.
you're gonna blame the
Every
victim.
point.
It's like, dude, you're not.
You
I mean,
okay? At every point, I have said that I am also culpable and I was stupid. I should have set clearer boundaries. I shouldn't have had this relationship, but also, I didn't know what the fuck I was consenting to. And that's the part, that's Steven's piece of the pie, right? I literally have
that's
no,
you.
no. Then what's Steven's part of the pie?
What do you mean? What's his part of the pie?
Yeah, like, okay, we get it. I was sledding around. I was sledding
He's
around.
asking, what is he culpable for?
Well, you guys are both culpable, but like the people hurt is both.
I agree with you.
Guys. So like, why are we hearing about your hurt? It's your fault. He hurt me. Well, she hurt me. Okay, well, you guys shut. Who cares?
Steven can talk about the ways in which I hurt him also.
Yeah, but he's not. You are.
Yes, he
Well,
is.
Max is. Max.
Yes, he is.
Well, only in reply to.
I think he called me a predator. Or someone else. I think that was actually Brianna Wu called me a sex criminal.
Well, when? It was after
mean?
all this got going, right? After the initiation. But the initiation, like the lighting of the fuse, was definitely on the side of you and Max. And in case this, just to be acknowledged though, like I think also, I mean, as far as being a dumb bitch goes on, I think you're being taken advantage of, even in this conversation right now, but especially by Max. I really don't like it. And this is just like Anna. I think you and Anna are both being drawn into Max's big drama, but that's my opinion. I don't know who agrees with me, but I think he's raw about losing his channel, and then he's raw about what went down in the Reddit in the subreddit.
I think that Max genuinely thinks Steven is very abusive with his platform. I don't think that you saying this like like just menial stuff that's like he lost his account, or well, that's not that menial, but like about the Reddit shit, this is not over the fucking Reddit shit. Like after finding out, after talking to Anna, where Anna was like, you could hear her voice shaking because of how scared she was about Steven, and then also saying that she was still sexting him. I think that builds a fire in you that you really want to fucking nail the guy. If you care about, like, think about if this is your daughter, Big Tech. Think about if I was your daughter or if Anna was your daughter. You'd be fucking pissed. You'd be like, this guy's a fucking douchebag, and I want everyone to fucking hear it. He's a piece of shit. The problem is that you don't really care about Anna. Well, and our relationship is very casual, so you probably don't care about me either. Yeah, but there's right. Like, if this was your daughter, and I think that Max takes everything very gravely, very seriously, it totally makes sense for him to have this reaction, and for you to, and for anyone to be like, this is just because of the subreddit. It's fucking retarded. It's wrong. It's wrong and retarded, and yeah, whatever.
If I had a daughter who slept with Destiny,
I didn't. Big Tech, you know better than anyone. I didn't sleep with him.
No, but Anna did. We're talking Anna.
Allegedly.
But yeah. So regarding the Anna thing and her, and then she goes on and she's going to get a dude. If Anna was my daughter, I don't know. I don't know if her father could have done better. But she's going to like become a psychologist and she's a freaking nut and she's sleeping with Destiny. I'd be like, girl, like, come home. I'm locking you in the basement. We're putting you through therapy. We got to get you straight. You're out here being an idiot in the world. That's
sure, but also I think you would feel that way, which I think is totally fine. I think it's totally fine for people to have feelings about my part of the situation. I'm of course not innocent. Nobody ever is fully innocent. There's no perfect victim. There's no perfect angel victim. But I think that you'd also, with that feeling with your daughter, you'd also be like, this guy's a piece of shit and I'm going to beat the fuck out of him.
Well, I mean, I got my issues with Destiny for sure. I mean, I don't like the way he goes about his business. Not in every way, by the way. There's not every I don't have a problem with everything he does. I hate to feel like ideologically just straight up opposed. I got my issues with him, but really it's like being a sex pest or being like treating women sort of like cruelly after they slut around with him and stuff. And it's sort of like, again, it's like the whole
Yeah, your whole like Christian thing where you're like, you think that sluts like deserve whatever. You wanna do what you wanna do. I'm not gonna change your fucking mind.
Well, okay, so Lav, let me ask you a question then. If, from his perspective, if he was correct in the way that he saw all of these relationships and the way that he saw, like, let's just assume, like, he was correct on, like, that they were wrong on what it was that they were attacking him on. Do you still think that, like, him reacting and talking about it on stream and telling everybody that they're lying and kind of disproving the facts, would you still call that like directing his audience to go harass them?
Yeah, I think one of the craziest parts about everything that went down was that I had to learn how Steven felt about me through his audience. So Steven very much like made me feel like we were pretty close at times. By telling me like big secrets or by, you know, doing whatever, wanting to have a relationship with me, saying that he really trusted me, all of this shit. And then he like wouldn't talk to me if he had like an issue with me, or he'd be I mean I should have known that he was doing this with me because he was talking shit about me he was talking shit to me about other streamers. So I should have known, but I don't know. It was like I was always finding out how he felt about me or things that he'd said about me, like saying that I was an abuser, I was manipulative, like in a stream. So I think that one of the things that like is pretty egregious about this is that like I never knew where the fuck I stood at like any given time. Like, and
I'm sorry,
he was
I'm
like,
confused. You said that you found out how he felt about you through his audience. How was that?
yeah, like them calling me manipulative and then me going back on like the stream and seeing like what he had said about me, or them being like, he's like, Steven's talking about you, and then going to go watch what he's saying about me, and then him calling me like manipulative, or watching through Chud Logic what Steven said about me. Like, I just always had to figure out secondhand. Like Steven would never come to me and be like, you're a really manipulative speaker, or like everything was just so everything was public and never interpersonal, and it was just really weird.
Do you think that
just
he
Jerry
assumes
Springer.
that you know if he says it publicly? Like he assumes that you're going to know or that you're going to find out, and so he just like feels like he's saying it and you're going to know one way or the other? Because that's how I feel. If I talk about another streamer on stream, I don't always say it directly to them, but I know that they're going to know.
Sure, but also once you that's different. So if me and Steven had like a purely streamer relationship, that would be fine. He was acting like we were fucking great friends, and that he was like, I mean, he was like, you know, being super hypersexual with me also. So I thought that we had the relationship where I could tell him things, and I did. I told him that he was being too aggressive or whatever the fuck, and he just never, he could have told me a ton of things, and he just never did. He just made it fucking content.
Is it like most of your relationships through text then, or is it like, are you guys like on the
Discord
phone
calls?
or
Yeah, Discord calls, like hours long Discord calls, fucking Discord, I guess, you know, text at some point, not towards the end. But yeah, what was your question? I felt like
Yeah, so
Why
I
were
was
you
asking.
so rude to him? That's my. Why were you so rude to Disney?
I was asking if you felt like if
what
he was correct on his perception, if you still feel like he was reacting poorly.
Oh yeah, like I like we were just at the place in our relationship where he didn't have to do that all for show, and he like just didn't consider me like whatsoever, in a way that was like very performative. Like he's just well, this is also, so Steven's whole life is his stream. He's never not fucking streaming. He streams all the fucking time. His whole pleasure center is from all of these like thousands of people who he watches. They are his family. They are his friends, his family, his lover, they're his life. This is what he eats, sleeps, and shits and breathes DGG, right? Mm-hmm. So I understand that he feels this like connection with this intangible thing because it gives his life so much value. And I think that that's cringe. Like, I think that makes him a loser. And like, this is what I'm saying. Like, most of these things that can be construed as,
you're mean and judgmental.
I don't care. Most of these things that can be construed as like controversial, or not controversial, abusive, which they certainly are in a vacuum. Like if someone was you know, an onlooker was watching and they saw the things that Steven was saying about people, they would be like, oh, that's abusive. Like, why would you abuse your power and say that this person is like doing whatever and whatever? But most of it is just like I get it. Like, I get why Steven is the way that he is and why he does the things that he does. And I think it's like cringe. More so than abusive, I think that Steven is fucking cringe. And that's what people like, nobody is getting like people are always saying to me like, oh, some abuse victim, you're still like, you know, talking about him and you're still you know, doing whatever. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna talk about whatever I want. But also, I'm like, I don't think that like I'm not like beaten down like into a fucking pulp over this. Like, it has been definitely unpleasant to deal with DGG, and at times it has made me extremely emotionally volatile. But overall, especially like coming out of it, and after like doing my own like therapy, talking about it in therapy and touching grass and spending more time with like my IRL friends, I'm realizing that like a lot of this is just fucking cringe. Like, Steven's just a little fucking like cheese boy gremlin on fucking like streaming to a bunch of its incel followers who fucking hate me. Like, okay.
No, you're wrong.
Like,
He's an internet god. He's a genius. He's great at debating. He does a million hours of streams. Everybody loves it. He's got a giant community. Everybody thinks he's cool. You're just jealous and seething and coping.
yeah.
Oh,
Like, I don't know,
W.
dude.
W big dick.
Whatever. Maybe okay. Steven is God. Steven is king.
Well, so why can't you just be nice? And why'd you? He was so nice. He
I
like
don't
let
owe
you into
anyone
his
fucking
universe.
anything.
He created his own universe and he let you into it. And he gave you a seat at the table.
Dude,
prime
part
time.
of why this is so fucking egregious to me is because he was so whatever. Actually, I won't even say. I don't want to get that mean. I'm feeling very angry, especially after Steven like lied about what the fuck I like lied about like something I had told him about Connor. Which, sorry, I won't be smug. But after he had just fucking lied and after he called me like mid Jew pussy, like, do I owe him anything? Do I fucking owe him anything? No.
Yeah.
I can air out so much shit that is so fucking embarrassing, but I'm trying to be a good person. So I will just say that he's fucking cringe, dude. And that's it. I mean, I think also once you're in this world, it's so consuming, especially because I've made so many friends here in this space that it's felt like I built a little life here. And it felt really consuming, especially during, you know, a time where I was agoraphobic. I had you know, my heart condition wasn't figured out and I couldn't really leave the house and I was getting off of Klonopin. It was very, you know, fragile time for me. It felt very much bigger and Steven felt very much bigger to me. And I think that that's Max's problem also, is that Steven feels really big to Max. And that's why he wrote the article. And to him, that's fine, and that's accurate. But to me, you know, when I go in, I have other connections through like, you know, like radical feminist spaces or like even fucking other political spaces or whatever. And no, like everyone I've ever asked the opinion of Steven outside of DGG is like, that kid's a fucking loser. Like, nobody takes him seriously. He's a fucking gremlin. And so that really like puts, and also after reading like most of his audience was like fucking white guys under 25, I'm like, okay, how much do I give a fuck?
You call us misogynists, but this is just straight up anti-male, anti-white Jew hatred.
Yeah.
You just hate
it is.
white males.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you just, loser is actually an anti-male slur.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, when you
What
call a
the
man a
heck?
loser, it's extremely emasculating. When you call a woman a loser, it means nothing. It's like calling a woman a skank is when you call a man a loser. And you just throw it around so loosely, it's really unkind.
That's
No,
messed up.
I think that there are really incredible people in this space. Really incredible people. Counterpoints, really incredible person. Tom, I think that you're great, even if we disagree on some things. You seem like a very decent person, and I really
I
like
hate
that
you.
about you. Thank you. Big Tech, you are on the list. You're something.
Coolest
There's something
of all
about you.
time.
But there are
Cool
there are a
people?
lot of people in this space who are really, really great people. Prime Kai, like just a ton of great people. But then
Prime
know,
guy's
they're
a
ju-
boss.
there are just some people who are just so they're just losers. Like I don't know. And maybe this is just from an outside perspective of being like, I don't know, being also kind of new in this space, but also 1 foot out because I have like other ventures. Like I don't like nobody. When I was crying, when I was sobbing to my best friend, in November of last year, I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. This is fucking crazy. She was like, who are you even talking about? Who is this guy? No one fucking watches Twitch. And it was just like, I was like, holy fuck, like, I think you're right. Like, this space feels a lot bigger than it really is.
Yeah, oh, it definitely does. Like it for sure. It definitely seems like it's bigger than it actually is. It's because there's a lot of streamers. It's not because there's a lot of people watching. It's because there's a lot of streamers.
Yes. Yeah, and everyone who streams is also like a fan, and it's sort of like, I don't know, it's this like little weird community. And to be honest, I really love this community. It just made me feel really normal. I think that there's a lot of people like as an autistic woman, being around other autistic people, it's really like healing. I feel like, a lot of my life has felt like I didn't like fit in anywhere, and I feel like I fit in here even though people fucking hate me. But the people who don't hate me, it's nice to be around. So the space isn't all bad, but I think we all need to remember not to take it too seriously.
Sure. I don't know. I don't want you to like me too much. I want to be clear. I like through Max's thing. I want to make sure that I don't come off like I'm being like disingenuous here. Okay. So I have been like very much in disagreement with Max in the way that he handled this. I feel like
sure.
I felt like his.
I don't need you to agree with everything I say to think that you're a decent person.
Fair enough, but I want to make sure that I'm being honest here, because I don't want it to come off like I'm like super neutral, all in the middle. Like, even
if you were on Steven's side, I think that you're a decent person. I think that
that's messed up.
I'm not like I don't. I don't need someone to agree with me.
That's
or
you
even
supporting Destiny by extension.
I don't care if you support Destiny. You can support Destiny. There are certain things like, like Zonia making a video saying that I like abuse and kill my cat. So like is fucking like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Or like Chud Logic being a fucking cringe loser. Like I trust that you are not someone who is going to do crazy shit like that for just fucking like attention and to be as horrible as you can. I think that you have real opinions, you have real passions about things, and you don't want to hurt people. And I think that someone who doesn't want to hurt people is good in my book.
Okay. So I'm a lava orbiter now.
No, we could not. You could hate me, and I would still think you were decent. No, you could completely hate me, and I would still think you were decent.
So I'm a lava orbiter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm actually a big tech orbiter though, so
yeah, that's right.
Well, big tech's my orbiter.
Yeah, what do you think? Should big tech and me do a little show?
Yeah, podcast.
Big tech talked to me about doing a little show together.
We should do relationship advice because we're both really good at it.
You guys would just sit around talking about trans people all the time because that's like the one thing that you guys share.
I think it should be me
commonality.
Me and you, and it should be me and Lav and Max actually.
That'd be
three of us. He won't do it, but I just think it would be the coolest.
You can work on him. If you grovel, if you apologize real bad.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just...
I think you are sorry. I don't know why you wouldn't.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry what happened to him. I got accused for doing a thing I didn't do. I was involved for like literally 90 seconds in the whole thing. Somebody else did something. I was clipped talking about... I was reacting to what they did. And then I got dragged into the call by Destiny, who freaking pigeonholed me and started like putting words in my mouth that I then had to defend, and I wasn't ready. He raped me. Destiny actually raped me. In the whole Mr. Girl thing, I'm the biggest victim of. I know Max lost his channel, and that's really hard. But I've been through a lot.
30-something-year-old man,
Destiny
you should be
literally
smart
raped
enough.
me.
You are a 30-year-old man. You should be smart enough to realize what you were going into. Nobody put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
You need to take responsibility for your actions.
But the thing is, I didn't sext him. So
you should have. He would have treated you better. If you have nice feet, he would have treated you better.
Well, they're big. I don't know if he likes them.
I don't know if he likes big. I don't know. But, you should ask him.
But yeah, he raped me, dude, and I was in a vulnerable spot. I was in like a precarious position. I was up against a ledge, and the mob wanted blood, and he brought me in and he fed me to him. If anybody should be bad at Destiny, it should be me. I should be mad.
You should write an
No.
article.
Maybe I will. Maybe talk to Max. You can help me out.
Maybe you should. How are things over on Cozy TV? What are you guys talking about these days? What's the tea?
Homosexual sex scandal.
Milo is dumb.
Wait,
Milo's
who is
a
it?
big dummy?
I was
Literally.
at a party in 2017, 2018, and Milo was there, and he screamed the N-word, and that is the only
based.
that's the only
No,
instance
not
I've
Milo.
ever had with him, and it was like a Twitter party.
Wow. Well, he's
Yeah.
a wild man. He's
It's
a
weird.
wild man. We're all
It's like a bunch of
wild over there.
meme Twitter accounts. It's so weird. Do you think he's normal? I have a feeling that he's normal, and all of this is a grift. Like everything he does is a grift
Milo?
for like money and attention. Yeah.
Normal? You mean like he's not gay and weird?
No, he is gay and
Oh.
edgy, but I don't think like I just think that he's doing this for like attention and money.
Doing what? Specific? Like his whole persona?
Yeah, like all of it, just being edgy and I don't know. What is he, like a Republican? I don't really even know anything about him, but I
He's
know
a
that people say he's insane.
provocateur. He's dramatic. He's a theatrical provocateur, ultra
A
right wing.
Christian conservative or a Christian nationalist.
Oh no, we don't. I know how big tech feels about those guys.
Yeah,
He's
Tech is
a
a Christian
homosexual
nationalist.
Christian nationalist who lives with his black husband.
Oh, so what's worse, him being gay or him race mixing or interracial sex? I guess they can't
well,
race mix
It's
because
not
they can't
race
have
mixing,
babies.
yeah, because there's no
Yeah.
offspring.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know,
it's
maybe
definitely-
someday.
Yeah, maybe someday. Yeah, he's an enigma, that's for sure. Did you see the debate he did with Destiny the other day? He was you know what's funny?
There are 50,000 other things I'd rather do than watch anything that Steven's a part.
Whoa, you're not keeping up with Destiny content? It was really good.
No, dude, he's
What
a
the
fucking
hell?
Man, you're
loser.
really seething over there. You're holding a
Man.
massive
No,
grudge.
I
You need to get
never.
rid of
I
it.
didn't really watch him to begin with. He's boring. All he does is do
Oh
fucking
my
Jerry
goodness.
Springer
This
shit.
uppity bitch, dude.
Oh.
His
He
content
literally
is
is a
good,
fucking
dude.
Jerry Springer of Twitch. He's nothing interesting. He will also
Take
argue
notes.
any position. He will
By
argue
the way,
any
calling
position.
people Jerry Springer is anti-Semitic, so
Oh my
also you
God.
might watch it
Yeah.
because he's Jewish, and
No,
so
I
I think
didn't.
Jerry Springer's a fine fellow.
Also, the blue hair is so fucking. I can't even look at it for a second. It makes me nauseous.
I mean, you realize I'm doing Jerry Springer right now as well, just to be clear. And
Jerry Springer was a genius, ahead of his time.
Yeah, you are doing Jerry Springer,
mhm.
but you don't have blue hair, so it's more palatable. Do you cheat on your wife? Do you have a kid you neglect?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't.
Who
I
knows?
guess you wouldn't. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't. But
So yeah, I think you should have apologized to Destiny for being mean, and then he be like, also, since I've apologized, since I've extended the olive branch, I made the first move. Would you please pay it forward, pass it on,
And finally
double it
return
and-
the favor.
wait, are both of you bald?
It's called I have a shaved head. It's a hairstyle.
Yeah, it's just shaved
I
heads.
don't-
There you
Both
go.
of you
Bald is
are
not my
bald.
preferred,
We just shave our heads.
adjective.
It's a really clean look.
Shut
Wow.
up! You're bald.
Does that mean high T or low T?
It's a lot less like it's high
It's
tea,
high
but
tea,
it's a lot,
actually.
a lot less diseases
the
and
bad
stuff to
kind of
worry
high tea.
about.
Does the carpet match the drapes?
Well,
Imagine having carpet.
yeah, so that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, so you should apologize to Destiny and then ask Destiny if he'll pay it forward and apologize to Max. And then ask Max if he'll be magnanimous and forgive everybody, and then it could be a giant love party at the end.
Yeah, wait, aren't you bald too? What the heck?
Me?
Yeah,
No, I'm not bald. I have a little pixie cut.
you're wearing wigs all the time.
Yeah, I'm not bald though. I just have a little
Mm.
Winona Ryder pixie cut.
Okay.
I literally went on your stream the other day and my hair, I had
Foolery,
my
don't
little
care.
pixie cut out.
Okay.
Don't care. Well,
Don't
You're
care.
ugly.
Don't care.
you're,
You're ugly. You're ugly and
No,
you're
you-
fat.
I am a little bit right now
Oh, I'm sorry.
because I stream a lot and eat, and I've gained like 20 pounds since December.
Oh my god, what's wrong
Kind
with
of
you? Do you have a
awesome.
thyroid problem?
Nice.
No, it's called bulking. I'm bulking. I'm just bulking. I'm gonna get extra big.
Yeah, you're
Gonna be
you're
cool.
bulking while you
It's
just
getting
fucking
ripped.
sit and stream while you're just
Yup.
like sitting and streaming to your little groiper.
Hey, it's my life.
Incels?
Don't judge me,
Okay.
ugly, dumb bitch.
He's almost as ripped as Destiny now.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Destiny get licked. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
All right, now we're just flirting, but for
Yeah.
real,
not
everybody should stay mad for a
flirting.
minute,
Don't
and then
fucking
everybody
flatter
should
yourself.
apologize.
I'm never
Well,
gonna apologize
meant-
to Steven.
I meant
I don't
I'm
fucking
flirting
owe
with
him anything.
Tom.
He doesn't owe me anything either. If he never wants to apologize, he never fucking has to.
So
what I would
what?
like
Do it
for him to
anyway.
do
Why do you
is
have to owe him? Just make everything better. Everybody be so happy. Give us all a gift.
no.
Why?
I'm not sorry. Like, I'm just not sorry for saying mean things about Steven. Like, I think he deserves it. He probably thinks the same thing about me. I think
Well,
that
that's why you have to be the bigger
eventually this is
person.
just gonna get so boring that like we just
Be the
stop
change
talking
in the
about
world
it.
that you want to
Yeah,
see.
I don't think anybody's worried about the mean things.
Ever
I
heard
don't
of that?
think
Ever heard
that's
of
what-
being the change in the world that you want to see? Live in the moment.
Yeah, sorry, this is paganism, eye for an eye.
That's Jewish, actually. That's Judaism. That's straight out of the Ten Commandments.
Yeah. No, but I don't care if he wants to keep talking about me. I wanted him to stop talking about me, but now everything that's happened has already happened, right? Like they already fucking like doxed me and did whatever the fuck, and you know they're already harassing me. Like there's nothing else they can fucking do at this point. And at that point, I was just like, stop talking to me. But I don't know. If he wants to keep talking about me, I guess keep talking about me. Keep my name fresh in your mouth, baby. He's just sending people to my fucking pages, I guess. All press is good press. I'm trying to, I don't know. I'm not gonna kill myself anymore. And I'm feeling pretty good these days, so. I don't know if, like, I'll keep talking about, for as long as we can keep talking about this, we fucking will. Like, you know what I mean? It's just gonna get fucking boring. We're just gonna run out of things to say about each other. Bottom line, he thinks I'm a scumbag, and I think he's a fucking loser. So that's kind of where it ends.
All right, cool.
So we got a real Israel-Palestine situation over here, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Just
yeah.
aren't going to put the guns down. You can't live together in peace.
Wait, what do you think is worse? Because you don't like brown people or Jews. Whose side are you on?
I
Israel or
love
Palestine?
everybody, but what was the question?
Israel or Palestine? Which one? Who do you want?
Whose
Who do you
side
want to
am I on?
win in the NBA Israel Palestine championship?
Well,
Okay.
it's
You
a-
guys are
it's a sticky
cringe.
situation.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Tom,
bye,
Thanks,
Tom.
Lav. I
Jerry Springer
will
card revoked.
message you again when everybody floods me with a ton of DMs about all the things that you lied about. Okay.
Yeah. And no one can stop me. No one can stop me from lying about everything. I'll continue to lie because I'm evil.
Damn, that's messed up. What the
Yeah.
hell? Oh my goodness. Okay.
I know.
All right. Have a
All right.
good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.